Okay, so as you can see, I've removed that shield that was here. And now there's this little mat right here which would catch any larger debris, but it doesn't stop the airflow. And you set the power supply here, blowing down. There's a rubber footing here that the power supply can sit on. This tray area here is very long. This entire area can be used by the power supply. So I don't know if you're familiar with any of the 1600 watt power supplies, but they would make use of this entire area. And if you own a 1600 watt power supply, you are probably not a person who is watching this video, and you have probably hired a technician to put higher amperage fuse in your house and to run a higher gauge, actually it would be a lower number, but a larger gauge of wire to the outlet that you are plugging into for power to the machine. That's how serious a 1600 watt conversation is. I today, however, will not be installing a 1600 watt power supply, because that is neither for the needs I have, nor is it in my budget. So the noise you heard is a combination of inappropriate work area, room, and poor placement of parts that I have, and we'll blame that also on the cats. There may or may not have been a cat anywhere near what happened, but they are easy to blame because they are always afoot. I don't know why. Okay, so here's what I got today. I was looking at power supplies that ranged in cost from $69 all the way to $330, with a rating all the way from 750 watts all the way to 1250, I believe was the highest one I was looking at. I looked at a lot of different products. I chose to go with this Antec, and the reason that I did was because this power supply will support SLI, which is two cards linked together, two NVIDIA cards linked together. It'll support SLI. It's 750 watts, which is sufficient for 6 series and newer NVIDIA products. So, for example, if you had two GTX 670s and you want to put them in SLI, this power supply is appropriate to cover those cards, the motherboard, all the fans, hard drives, everything else that you have. This is sufficient. One could argue that 900 watt is sufficient, a 1200 watt is sufficient, and other things, but it's really not that necessary, because there's very few software applications that need the full use of your card and the power to go along with what your card is really capable of. So really a lot of things out there are purely not practical for most consumers. So a lot of it is just advertising and marketing gaming products in such a way it's attractive to a lot of people that like to game, regardless of whether or not their games actually make use of all this. So hold on a second while we unwrap this bad boy.